I'm about to expose every single money laundering trick in the world. After this video, you'll understand how trillions of dollars move through the shadows every single year. You'll know why some restaurants never go out of business even though nobody eats there. You'll know why people pay millions for ugly art that makes absolutely no sense. You'll know why that easy money gig your friend told you could almost land you in prison. And most importantly, you'll learn how to spot these traps before you accidentally become a criminal's fool. Trust me, this video might save your life one day. Let's start with a brilliant true story. Pablo Escobar, the Colombian drug lord, was making $2 million in cash every single day at his peak. But he had a problem. Too much money. Oh God, I wish I had this problem. His cash filled entire warehouses. Rats were eating his banknotes. He was losing $1 billion a year just to rodents. So why couldn't the world's richest drug dealer just buy a private jet? Because illegal money can't be spent openly. And that's the whole reason money laundering exists. Think about it. Let's say you're running an illegal gambling operation and you make $100 million in cash. Can you buy a house of it? The government wants to know where that money came from. Can you put it in the bank? The bank's gonna ask too many unnecessary questions. You can't even buy a Lamborghini because tax authorities will want to know how you afford it. This is the ultimate paradox for our criminal friends. The more money you have, the less you can spend it. The less you can spend it, the more useless the money becomes. So money laundering is basically creating a fake legal identity for the dirty money. It's like putting a real ID for someone who doesn't officially exist. You're turning money that can't see the light of day into money you can spend freely. But this process is incredibly complicated because the modern financial system is like one giant surveillance network. Every transaction leaves a trace. Every transfer can trigger an alarm. Money launderers have to find holes in this net. The United Nations actually identified 3 stages of money laundering. Stage 1 is placement. You get the cash into the financial system. Now, this is the most dangerous part because large amounts of cash attract attention immediately. Imagine walking to the bank with $1 million in cash. What's the teller's first reaction? Stage 2 is layering. You run the money through complex transactions to hide where it came from. It's like shuffling poker cards. Your money bounces through different accounts, different countries, and different forms until nobody can trace the original source. Stage 3 is integration. The money re-enters the normal economy. Now it has legal disguise. You can invest it, spend it, and pass it on to your kids. The whole process is like a magic trick. The magician makes you watch the left hand while the right hand does all the work. Money launderers show you a legitimate business while hiding a criminal empire behind it. So why is money laundering so hard? It's a math problem. Industry insiders agree that laundering costs 20 to 30% of the total amount. Wash $1 million and you lose $200,000 to $300,000. Why? You need to bribe people, hire good lawyers and accountants and bankers, pay taxes and fees, and deal with middlemen taking their cut. High-risk money will take up to 50%. So this is why petty thieves don't launder their money. If I steal $10,000 and only keep $7,000 after laundering while risking arrest, I'd rather just spend the money directly. Only large-scale criminal income is worth laundering. So that's why money laundering is connected to drug trafficking, arms stealing, and human trafficking. So remember this truth. Money laundering is a desperate act. If criminals could spend the money directly, why would anybody accept a 30% loss? So, where does the term money laundering come from? It actually has to do with a laundry. In the 1920s, during the American Prohibition, Chicago mob boss Al Capone had a problem. His bootlegging business was all cash, So how could he explain where the money came from? His financial advisor, Mayor Lansky, came up with a genius idea. Invest in laundromats. Why laundromats? 3 reasons. Cash business, that's hard to audit. Costs are vague. You say you wash 1,000 shirts today. Who can prove you only washed 100? Mix the illegal income with the laundromat revenue and the dirty money becomes clean. So that's where the term comes from. 100 years later now, the methods have evolved, but the principle hasn't changed. Let me walk you through the classics. Restaurants. Gangsters all over the world love opening restaurants. Not because they are foodies, but because restaurants are perfect laundering tools. Why? Lots of cash payments, especially at certain types of restaurants. Flexible costs because a dish could cost $10 or $100 to make. Who can really tell? Customer traffic is also hard to verify. You say 500 people came in today. Is someone actually going to count them one by one? The operation is simple. Actual revenue is 1 million, but you report 5 million. The extra 4 million is your dirty money. Sure, you pay taxes on it, but after taxes, it's legal income. That's why some restaurants have terrible locations and terrible food, but stay open for decades. Their real function isn't cooking, it's cleaning money. Now, casinos. Gambling destinations like Macau are money laundering paradises. Not because you can win money, but because the chips are noneless. The process is plain and simple. Bring $1 million in cash to the casino, convert it into chips, spray a bet out at the tables, maybe 10 or 20%. Let's say you're tired and want to cash out. The casino gives you documentation showing gambling winnings. Magic. Dirty cash went in, documented legal funds came out. The gambling losses are just the cost of laundering. Anywhere with legal gambling becomes a laundering hub because it checks all the boxes. Legal gambling, cash transactions, customer, privacy. And that's how corrupt Chinese officials get their money laundered in Macau. Art. This is the rich person's favorite method. Why does a banana stuck on a wall that nobody understands sell for 100 million? It's not about artistic value. The beauty of arts laundering is that value is subjective. How much is a painting worth? There is no objective standard. Van Gogh couldn't sell a single painting while he was alive, but now this guy's work is priceless. This vagueness provides perfect cover for laundering. Here's how it works. The launderer finds an artist and buys their work with dirty money at any price. They get an auction house to sell it. An accomplice bids it up at a crazy price. Money moves in a circle and dirty cash becomes art's investment returns. The advanced version is setting up an arts foundation, collect art for tax deductions, buy and sell art to launder money, and exhibit art for social networking. 3 birds with 1 stone. Real estate. Now this is the world's biggest money laundering pool. The basic version is buying property with cash. In the USA, many luxury home purchases are all cash deals. Buyers can hide their identity behind an LLC, limited liability company. Buy a place for $1 million, live there a couple years, sell it, and the money's clean. The intermediate version involves fake transactions. And A uses dirty money to overpay for person B's property. B transfers money to C. C sells cheap to A's shell company. The property goes in a circle back to A, but the dirty money stays with B and C. The advanced version is development projects. Starts a real estate company, invests dirty money in construction, manipulate building costs and sales revenue, and you can clean billions in one project. International trade. This is the main channel for cross-border laundering. Every year, global trade is tens of trillions of dollars. Imagine how much dirty money is hidden in there. The classic method is over-invoicing exports and under-invoicing imports. The difference is the laundered amount. A shipment worth $1 million gets invoiced at 10 million. The extra 9 million is what you're washing. The amounts method is completely fake trade. No real goods, just paperwork and money flows. This requires companies on both sides of the border and insiders at customs, but the profits are huge. One deal can clean over $1 billion. These classic methods have worked for a century because they exploit blind spots in regulation. Cash is hard to track, value is hard to verify, and cross-border activity is hard to monitor. Now let's talk about the modern era. If traditional laundering was version 1.0, we're now at version 3.0. Technology didn't just change our lives. It completely transformed money laundering. Cryptocurrency. When Bitcoin launched in 2009, Satoshi Nakamoto probably didn't realize he created not just a new currency, but a new era of money laundering. Why do money launderers love Bitcoin? Anonymity, global reach, decentralization, you don't need a bank, you don't need ID, you just need a password. And funds, in minutes, funds can move from one end to the earth to the other. The basic method is Bitcoin mixtures. Your Bitcoin gets mixed with other people's coins then redistributed. It's like putting 100 people's money into a blender, mixing it up, then pouring it back out. Nobody knows whose coin is whose. The intermediate method is chain hopping. From Bitcoin to Ethereum to Tether to Monero. Each jump multiplies the tracking difficulty by 10. Eventually you cash out in some country with loose regulations. The advanced method is called DeFi laundering. Decentralized finance is a launderer's dream. No KYC, no regulators, just code. Smart contracts automatically scatter, gather, and convert funds with zero human involvement. But crypto isn't perfect for our criminal buddies. Blockchain means all transactions are publicly visible. You just don't know who's behind each address. Once an address gets flagged, all related transactions are exposed. So that's why many hackers who receive Bitcoin ransoms are afraid to spend it. Cross-border e-commerce. The rise of online shopping gave launderers new tools. Billions of small transactions every day. How can anybody track them all? There's fake order laundering on Amazon and Temu, where you open an online shop and use dirty money to buy from yourself. It looks like normal sales, but money just moves from your left hand to your right. The platform's cut is your laundering cost. Overpriced goods laundering, where you sell a dollar item for $10,000. The buyer pays with dirty money, the seller receives clean payment. The product might be a piece of paper or literally nothing. There's splitting transactions into amounts below reporting thresholds. 10 million becomes 1,000 transactions of 10,000 each. The system doesn't flag it up, but it all adds up. There's also refund laundering, where you buy expensive items of dirty money, then request refunds to different accounts. Online gaming. Virtual worlds with real crimes. Game currency, equipment, and accounts have all become laundering tools. You top up game currency with dirty money, transfer it to other players in the game, and they cash out. Major games have daily transaction volumes in the hundreds of millions. Dirty money blends in. You buy premium equipment with dirty money and sell it to accomplices at high prices. The transaction happens in the virtual world where regulators can't reach. You pay people with dirty money to level up accounts and then sell these accounts. Buyer pays for a game account. Clean and simple. With the metaverse expanding, the laundering space gets even bigger. Virtual land, NFT art, digital products. They're all just code, but it's worth astronomical amounts. Laundering in the metaverse is like committing crimes in a world without police. Third-party payment. Mobile payment has changed our lives and changed money laundering. Before, you had to go to a bank. Now you just need a phone. Money Mule operations recruits tons of runners. Each person uses their own payment accounts to receive and transfer funds. Individual accounts don't handle much, but hundreds and thousands of these accounts together create a massive money pipeline. There's also QR code laundering, where gambling sites and fraud operations use personal QR codes like Alipay and WeChat Pay. You think you're making a deposit, but you're actually helping them wash money. There's even red envelope laundering, where holiday money gifts used for connecting friends and family are used for laundering. Mass red envelopes look random, but they're actually fund transfers. Small amounts, high frequency, lots of participants, and very hard to crack. There's aggregated payment laundering, where one merchant code connects to dozens of receiving accounts. Incoming funds gets automatically distributed, so no account triggers alerts. Underground banking has existed for thousands of years, but thrives in the digital age. Modern underground banks don't need storefronts, just a messaging app. There's mirror trading, where person A wants to move $1 million out of the country and person B wants to move $1 million in. Traditional way means each converts currencies separately. But through underground banking, A gives money to B's domestic account and B gives money to A's overseas agent. The money never transfers across borders, but both needs are met. There's also crypto tunnels, where underground banks use stablecoins like USDT as intermediaries. The customer buys coins with local currency, the bank sells coins overseas to the customer's designated account. Whole process takes minutes with 5 to 10% fees. There's also trade cover, where underground banks operate behind legitimate trading companies. Surface level import-export. Actual function is moving money. Annual turnover in the billions, most of it might be laundering. So, all of these modern methods share common features. Technology lowered barriers, networks expanded scale, anonymity increased security. But they also create new problems. More participants means ordinary people like the average Joe get dragged in easily. You might not even know what you're doing, but you're already part of it. Which brings up to the traps around you. How do ordinary people become money laundering nightmares? If you think that money laundering is far from you, wrong. In this era of side hustles and everybody investing, laundering traps are right next to you. What's scarier is you might already be a part of the laundering chain without knowing it. First, money mule gigs. Job posting says, make 300 to 500 a day just by receiving payments on your Alipay or WeChat. Have you seen an ad like this? This is money muling, currently the most rampant form of money laundering. The essence is renting your payment account to laundering gangs. They use your WeChat and Alipay code to receive dirty money and then have you transfer it out. You make a few hundred while they wash tens of thousands. There's a real case from 2023. A college student in Shenzhen saw a money mule ad and thought it was helping an online store boost transaction volume. The student did it for a month and made 15,000 yuan. Then, police showed up. Turns out, he was receiving fraud money. The student got sentenced to 18 months, had his 15,000 confiscated, and had to compensate the victims. Ignorance is no defense. You did it, you go to prison. So the criminal risks of money muling include aiding cybercrime with sentences up to 3 years, concealing criminal proceeds with sentences of 3 to 7 years, money laundering charges with sentences of 5 to 10 years. What's even scarier is the lifetime impact. Credit blacklists means no loans, no buying property, no buying cars. Your payment accounts get frozen for 5 years. Criminal record affects government job applications, so your children's background checks get impacted. It's a black mark for generations. Number 2. Selling bank cards. Ads offering 1,000 yuan for a full set of bank card materials just for cards that you don't use often. This is very common among schools. Many students don't understand the consequences. Rural areas are full of elderly people selling their bank cards without knowing what happens next. So these cards get used to receive gambling money and to transfer fraud proceeds, serve as laundering transfer stations, and enable tax evasion. Here's a real case from Jiangsu. A guy got talked into opening 5 bank cards and sold each of them for 500 yuan. 6 months later, the police arrived. His cards had over 20 million in transaction volume, all of them telecom fraud money. Not only was his 2,500 confiscated, and he got 2 years in prison. Worse was that the victim sued him for joint liability and his house got seized. Lifetime of construction work and he lost his home. So remember this. Your bank card is your financial identity. Selling your card means selling your identity to criminals. Number 3. Fake rebate schemes. Rebate schemes are scams themselves, but many are actually money laundering operations. Signs of laundering rebate schemes include unusually large amounts in the tens of thousands, abnormally high returns of 20 to 30%, requirements to pay through specific accounts, and products that are all virtual. The real operation is that you think you're earning rebates, but your money goes into a laundering pool. They give you small wins yearly. Once you put in a large amount, they disappear. You lose your money and now you're a criminal. Everybody you referred becomes a criminal too. Fake investment. Guaranteed returns, 15% annual yield, state back it. These investment ads are tempting, but they are laundering traps. Signs include abnormally high returns, unclear fund destinations, frequently changing receiving accounts, and vague contract terms. These platforms use your money to wash even dirtier money. They take your million, promise 15% returns, use your money to launder for criminal organizations at 30% commission. They give you a small cut and take the big share for themselves. When things blow up, your money's gone, you're classified as a laundering participant. Claiming ignorance is hard to prove when the returns are that high, and any reasonable person would be suspicious. Suspicious purchasing agents. Overseas purchasing is normal, but some of it is money laundering. Signs include only accepting cash or transfers to specific accounts, prices obviously different from market rates, bulk purchasing of luxury goods, and requests for you to carry goods through customs. Now there's this case of a purchasing agent in Guangzhou who had customers only wanting receipts, not the actual products. He did think that it was weird but didn't think too hard since he was making money. Then, customs busted a smuggling ring and all the receipts were his. Customers were using his receipts to launder money and turning the dirty cash into legitimate purchasing payments. Crypto investment. Missed Bitcoin, don't miss this coin. Dogecoin, Catcoin, whatever BS coin. These promotions are everywhere, but 90% of these altcoins are money laundering schemes. Signs of laundering coins include opaque founding teams, plagiarized white papers, artificially manipulated prices, and trading only on specific platforms. These projects are essentially scam tools plus money laundering channels. Criminals use dirty money to buy their own coins, pump the price, investors see it rising and buy in, and when real money from retail investors come in, criminals cash out. The dirty money is clean now, and the retail investors hold the bag. So remember this. When you don't know who the sucker is, you are the sucker. When you don't know who's laundering money, you are the laundering tool. loan scams. You've got bad credit. You can't qualify for loans anymore. Nobody will give you a loan because you're a foreigner. But now someone online tells you they have special channels. Just get a business license and send over your bank card. They'll boost your transaction history and you can get a loan. But what's really happening is they're using your accounts for money laundering. The loan is fake. It's all fraud money. You think that you are getting a loan, but the money arrives, your bank account is frozen, and you're in jail. Now, let me tell you about the global net. How anti-money laundering systems actually work. If you think money laundering is easy, in the first half of 2025 alone, global anti-money laundering systems froze $150 billion and arrested over 150,000 people. The upper net is terrifying. New anti-money laundering laws represent the strictest regulations ever. China's new anti-money laundering law took effect January 1st, 2025. It is the first major revision in 17 years. How tough is this? Expanded crime categories to include virtual currencies, NFTs, and metaverse assets. Maximum personal fines jumped from 500,000 to 10 million yuan. Banks are getting hit with massive fines. Over 50 bank executives have been personally fined millions for anti-money laundering failures. With AI, monitoring systems know your transaction habits better than you do. 2025 saw full deployment of AI-powered anti-money laundering systems. How scary are these systems? Real-time money processes 10,000 transactions per second with millisecond anomaly detection. Cross-platform behavior correlation uses social network analysis to map complete relationship networks for fund flow patterns. In one case, criminals split transactions across 500 accounts, each under 50,000, thinking it was foolproof. AI detected transfers happening within 3 seconds of each other, all amounts at exactly 49,999. All IP addresses in the same network segment. Within 48 hours, all accounts were frozen. Total amount involved was over $1 billion. Blockchain tracking also means crypto is now transparent. Don't believe anyone who says Bitcoin cannot be traced. As of 2025, on-chain anti-money laundering technology can track over 95% of cryptocurrency transactions. New technology can penetrate mixes. DeFi transactions are fully visualized. Fund flows are automatically tagged. AI-driven crypto anti-money laundering models have 98% accuracy. There was a hacker group that stole 100 million in crypto assets and ran it through mixes and cross-chain bridges 7 times, thinking they were safe. Each step was tracked in real time. When they tried to cash out at an exchange, game over. Global coordination means the net has no borders. 2025's updated high-risk country list means economic death sentence for those on it. Coordination mechanisms between 70 countries enable shared financial intelligence, 24-hour cross-border asset freezing, and interconnected AI systems. A laundering group had funds bouncing through Dubai, Hong Kong, Switzerland, and the Cayman Islands, thinking distribution across multiple countries meant safety. 4 country AI systems ran joint analysis. Within 72 hours, all accounts were locked. $3.5 billion frozen. Monitoring density means every second you're being watched. Behaviors that trigger alerts include transfers over 10,000 at 3 a.m., more than 5 transactions per day to new accounts with over 100,000 in transactions within 30 days, long dormant accounts suddenly being active, and cross-border transfers with vague reasons. Even scarier is 6-degree tracking. You transfer to A transfers to B to C, and so on. The system can track 6 levels of transfers and map complete fund networks. After one peer-to-peer lending platform collapsed, 6-degree tracking identified 30,000 connected accounts. So, final chapter guys, how to protect yourself. After all these laundering methods and anti-laundering systems, the most important thing is how to avoid you from being dragged in. Here's a systematic approach. First, abnormally high returns. Anything over 10% annually should raise red flags. Over 20% is almost certainly a trap. Second, cash only. Legitimate businesses don't refuse bank transfers. Third, frequently changing accounts. This account today, that account tomorrow. Fourth, fake identities. They won't tell you the real company name or address. Fifth, contract loopholes. Virtually vague language to avoid key terms. Sixth, pressure to decide. Today only, gone tomorrow. All manipulation. 7. Friend referrals. Using your trust to lower your guard. 8. Small test amounts. Sweet deals early, harvest later. 9. Tech buzzwords. Using blockchain and AI concepts to confuse you. 10. Threats. Participate or miss out. Always problematic. Need a lawyer? Call Edgar.